Hi, my name's Crystal. Please like and subscribe. Growing up, I didn't have many friends. No one so much as looked at me, let alone speak to me. Well, except for Allie, my best friend, and my only friend. The first time Allie and I met was when we were 5 years old.
Hey! Give that back! Dance for me first!
Embarrassed, I stood up and began to dance a little. But then suddenly, this other girl barged in and shoved the kid away. She grabbed my toy and handed it back to me. I was in awe.
Here you go.
Thanks. We've been best friends ever since. I was used to never getting attention, until the day that changed the rest of my life forever. Allie and I were sitting at our usual spot in the cafeteria when suddenly there was a bunch of commotion outside. Everyone was shouting and running out into the field. Let's go check it out. We ran outside to find a giant banner flying across the sky, pulled by a plane. It said, "Bow to your new king, King Dante." What's going on? Suddenly, a figure leaped out of the plane and fell straight towards us.
Ah! He's gonna die!
But then the skydiver yanked on his bag and a parachute opened up. The crowd gasped and clapped until finally he arrived in front of us. The guy pulled off his mask, and I knew everyone was thinking the same thing. He was so handsome. Hello, commoners! I am King Dante. I will be moving to this school and I can't wait to rule this place. Seriously, who was this guy? Suddenly, Dante turned his head and looked right at me. Is something funny? No, nothing. I couldn't hold it in.
Crystal!
Dante walked towards us slowly. What's your name? Crystal? Listen here, Crystal. I don't have time to deal with peasants like you. A smile slipped off from my face. What did you just call me? You heard me. Now bow down. I beg your pardon? Granted. What? Crystal, come on, just do it. And you can't believe what she did. She actually went down onto her knees and bowed to him. Nuh-uh. I wasn't having any of that. Go on, Crystal. Follow your friend. Unlike you, she's got a brain.
Crystal, hurry!
Come on, sweetie, just... I don't know what came over me. 1 second my arm was by my side, and the next second it had pulled back and swung around with enormous speed, punching Dante right in his snobby face. Ow! The crowd gasped. A teacher appeared. Crystal! Detention! Now! I was too stunned to move. What was that? Later in the principal's office, Principal Morgan was really scolding me.
This is so unlike you, Crystal. You're usually very quiet and mellow. What happened?
I agree. He must have done something horrible to cause such a reaction. What did he do, sweetie? He asked me to bow to him. Okay, while that is bad, that does not justify punching him. I'm sorry, Crystal, but I'm going to have to expel you. What? Dante is the son of the mayor of this town. I have to set a precedent. But... Principal Morgan stood up and approached me. I'll be taking your... And suddenly a tingling sensation erupted across my skin. And just like before, my limbs moved of their own accord and swiped Principal Morgan off her feet. She came crashing down. Crystal! She's definitely expelled now! Something was wrong with me. Mom agreed and took me to the hospital that evening. And after running several tests, the doctors came to a dark conclusion. She has a rare condition called ninja-loxia. What does that mean? It's a rare condition that basically turns her into a ninja whenever she feels threatened. I advise you to learn how to control it so you don't seriously hurt someone. Is there nothing else we can do? I'm afraid not. Luckily, Mom was able to give Principal Morgan the doctor's report so I could still stay at school. But the news of my condition had left me shocked. I didn't want to hurt anyone. The next day at school, we were in the cafeteria again when I saw Dante walk in. He had a band-aid on the side of his face where I had punched him. I'm gonna go apologize to him. No, don't! He doesn't deserve it. He's a jerk. Maybe, but I should still apologize. I managed to escape Allie's grasps and walk up to Dante. He had 2 other guys beside him. It looked like he'd managed to get a group of sheep already.
Back off, pea-brains! Yeah, unless you want a knuckle sandwich!
Shut it, thing one and thing two! Dante, What? I wanted to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry for punching you. I never should have resorted to violence. Can you forgive me? Dante said nothing. He just looked at me. He had a weird expression on his face, too. After a while, I just left. It was so awkward. Later, Allie and I were at the skate park, skating around like we usually did. I flew off the ramp, but while I was in the air, my feet slipped from the board.
Crystal, look out!
I was heading straight for the fence. If I didn't do something quick, I would be fence food. Suddenly, my body curled into a ball, and I flipped and landed on my feet, avoiding the fence, as if I were Spider-Man. No, as if I were a ninja.
That was awesome!
Really? Suddenly, we heard slow clapping, and one of Dante's goons appeared.
Wow, amazing!
Then Dante and his other friend appeared.
What are you doing here? We've come to give you the payback you deserve. You defied King Dante. You know what happens to people who defy the crown.
I felt my body ready into a defensive stance. No, control yourself.
Come on, Dante. Let's show this little girl what you're made of. Yeah, go King Dante!
Dante stood there. I couldn't tell what he was thinking. What was he planning to do first? Punch me? Kick me? But a minute passed, and still he did nothing. He just stared at me. His goons looked confused, then one of them stepped forward.
Oh, of course. Why should King Dante do the dirty work? Let me beat this brat. Do it!
He advanced towards me, and I readied to defend myself, but suddenly the dude went flying and crashed to the ground. What had just happened? I looked up and saw Dante glaring at his friend with disgust. Don't you dare hurt her.
Huh?
Dante looked up at me. Was it just me, or was he blushing? I'm so sorry for how we've behaved, Crystal. Goodbye. And they left. Just like that. Allie and I looked at each other in shock. Had that really just happened? I had no idea what to make of that ordeal, but I knew my body was experiencing a crazy amount of emotions because that night I had a crazy nightmare. I was running down the road and someone was chasing me. For some reason, they had Allie's voice, even though it was a man. The man chased me and cornered me in an alleyway. I readied my hand back, then punched him with all my might. Suddenly, I heard a scream and woke up. Mom was on the ground, holding a bruised eye. Mom! Did I hit you? Mom quickly got up to comfort me. It's all right, honey. Really? I was horrified at myself. I couldn't stay here. I couldn't risk it. I ran between Mom's outstretched arms and leapt out of the open window. No! Crystal, wait! I ran down the street as fast as I could. It was pouring rain and I couldn't see clearly in the darkness. I crossed the street and narrowly missed being run over. I made it to a quieter part of town. I didn't know where I was heading. What should I do?
Lost, little girl?
6 men surrounded me. They all looked like crooked thieves.
Be a good little girl and give us all your money.
I don't have any on me.
We'll see about that.
They pressed in closer and just like that, I switched. I was in survival mode. My ears sharpened, my vision cleared. I was ready. They didn't stand a chance. I knocked out the first guy with a quick jab, then the other went down with my flying kick. Down they went one after another, until just one remained. Wait, please! I did a backflip, crushing his temple with my foot, and he too went crumbling down like a sandcastle. I breathed heavily. That was
awesome!
But then a tingling sensation spread over my body, and I spotted more thieves swarming out of the darkness.
Who are you? You'll pay for what you did to our friends!
There were too many of them. I didn't think I could handle them all at once. Then suddenly a car screeched and skidded to a stop beside me. The door opened, and I couldn't believe who was in the back seat. Get in! I hesitated. Who would I rather? Dozens of thieves who were out to get me? Or Dante? It was a hard choice, but eventually I leapt into the car with Dante and we sped off. Thank you for saving me. Don't mention it. Dante asked his driver to take us to a scenic view of the ocean so we could cool down. I hopped out of the car as soon as we arrived and sat down on the cliff ledge. I heard Dante follow after me and sit down too. So, you gonna tell me what happened? Just got into a little trouble. What are you doing out at this time of night? Why do you care? Dante looked a little hurt. I sighed. I'm sorry. I'm just a little on edge. No, don't apologize. I should be the one. He looked away. What was up with him? Are you okay? Me? Yeah, of course. I wasn't the one who was just attacked by a gang of thieves. True. But still. I put my hand on his. You okay? He stiffened, then let out a sigh. I like you. I froze. What? I like you, okay? I like you. You're the only girl who actually cares, who actually looks at me, who sees me, who... He bit his lip. I've said too much, and I don't know what happened. Just like how my body moved of its own accord whenever it felt threatened, it moved of its own accord now, but for an entirely different reason. I gently turned his face to me and leaned in and kissed him. It felt like my heart was dancing inside. When we finally broke away, Dante looked like he was on cloud 9. Wow. I was shocked by this sudden turn of events. Who knew I would be kissing King Dante? But he had changed. He wasn't the snobby King Dante he used to be. Listen, I'm throwing a birthday party tomorrow. You should come. Sure. Can I bring Allie? Allie? My best friend. Of course. Thanks. I kissed him again on the cheek, and later he dropped me back home. When Mom saw me, she embraced me. Where have you been? I've been worried sick. Mom, you have no idea. The next day, Allie and I walked over to Dante's house. Did I say house? I meant mansion. Seriously, his dad had big bucks. We rang the doorbell and Dante opened the door. Crystal, Allie, you both look amazing. Thanks, Dante. We entered and he led us around to where the other party guests were gathered. We're about to cut the cake. You know the rules, Dante. You have to give the first slice to the person you like the most. Dante blushed, then promptly handed me the first slice without any hesitation. Now it was my turn to blush while the whole crowd whooped and hollered. I turned to look at Allie, but she seemed to have disappeared. Are you enjoying the party? It's great. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna get us some juice. But he didn't get right back. It was an hour before I saw him again, and only after I looked around the whole giant house. Eventually, I found him out on the balcony. Dante, what are you doing out here? Dante sniffled. Had he been crying? What's wrong? Why do you care? What? Dante, what are you talking about? It's fine. You don't have to pretend anymore. Allie told me everything. What? She told me how you were only pretending to like me back. You were just doing some giant scheme to get me kicked out of school. Fine. See if I care. I'm moving out of town. But Dante! He brushed past me and disappeared into another room. I was speechless. Why had Allie told him that? I went downstairs to try and find Allie. Have you seen Allie?
I think I saw her by the snacks table.
I ran over and sure enough, there she was, nibbling on some Doritos innocently.
Allie!
Allie spun around.
Oh, it's you.
Why did you do it, Allie?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't lie to me!
Just shut up and ninja your way back home.
My body began to move, and suddenly the bowl of punch was in my hands.
Wait, what are you? Too late.
I hurled the bowl of punch straight at her, and it smashed her right in the face. She was drenched. Everyone started laughing and pointing at her. Suddenly I felt guilty. Allie, I'm sorry, Wait! I followed after her down the street, searching for her blue hair. Suddenly I felt a tingling sensation again, and I turned to my left. There, in the bushes. I rushed over to find Allie sitting there on her own, drawing in the dirt. Allie?
Ah! How did you find me?
Allie, why did you tell Dante those lies? Allie looked like she was about to cry. Then finally she exploded.
I'm so sorry!
Huh? Allie collapsed onto me, holding me tight. I'm sorry I did it! But why did you?
Because
because I have a crush on Dante! What?
I did the moment I saw him.
But he only had eyes for you. I got so jealous. I'm so sorry, Crystal. I never should have let a guy come between us. Please, will you forgive me? I looked at Crystal in her puffy eyes and smiled kindly. Of course I forgive you. You're my best friend. We hugged, then Ellie stood up suddenly. I'm gonna go tell Dante the truth right now. Don't bother. I didn't really like him that much anyway. He's kinda needy. Ellie looked shocked, then laughed out loud. I laughed with her. Then we linked arms and headed down the street.
Best friends for life!